I'm Fong, a sophomore in college, and this all started when I got kicked out of the university dorms. With no other options, I scrambled to find a place to stay, eventually ending up at a rundown co-op near campus, 3 shabby buildings, dirt cheap. Most of the residents were noisy students like me, but there were a few strange, quiet figures mixed in. I didn't care much. As long as I had a bed and could bike to school, I was fine. From the first day, I noticed her, a woman around 60, tangled gray hair, back hunched like it might snap. She lived in the building across from mine, barely spoke, her eyes always vacant like she'd lost her soul. I figured she was a retired staff member or something tied to the school, but no one mentioned her, and the eerie vibe around her sent chills down my spine. Things got weird one night in the common kitchen. I was yelling with friends, the smell of food thick in the air, when she appeared. She didn't cook, didn't eat, just stood in the dark corner, her eyes scanning each of us. I locked eyes with her, a sharp, icy stare, like a drill boring through my skull. My heart pounded, but no one else in the group noticed, as if she were an invisible ghost. Then one night, I was buried in books when a creeping dread hit me. I glanced out the window and froze. There she was, standing in the middle of the road under the weak yellow streetlight, staring right at my room. Wind howled past, biting cold, yet she stood still as a statue. Trembling, I waved at her, hoping to break the creepy tension. But she suddenly jumped up, let out a shrill scream, and bolted back to her building. I stood there, hands and feet ice cold, knowing I'd just messed up. I pressed my housemates for answers. One whispered, "She's been here forever, just ignore her." Another quietly said she had some dark tie to the school, a bit crazy but harmless. I hadn't even caught my breath when the nightmare struck. At midnight, my door creaked open. There she was, a tall, gaunt shadow, eyes glinting. I yelled, and she turned away like nothing happened. Then my room key vanished, and fear started choking me. The breaking point came on a pitch-black night. A clattering noise from my wardrobe jolted me awake. Heart racing, I grabbed the stick under my bed, charged over, and flung the door open. She was there, clutching a gleaming knife, her eyes wide and white like a demon's. I roared, and she lunged, the blade slashing toward my chest. In a split second, I knocked her down, wrestling on the floor, blood pumping hot through me. Housemates rushed in, cops stormed the place, dragging her off in terrifying silence. Turns out she was the manager's sister-in-law, schizophrenic, stashed here instead of treated. The manager got arrested, and I nearly lost my life. Graduation's coming up, but that night with the knife at my throat still screams in my head like an endless wail. I'm Helen, retired, living with my husband, Thomas, in an old 2-story house on the edge of town. Our life had been calm since the kids left, until a young man named Liam moved into the house across the street, a dark wooden place, empty for years. Liam, about 25, arrived in a glossy black Mercedes, dressed in expensive clothes, exuding wealth. I thought he was a young businessman or something, but the way he smiled, his eyes glinting oddly, sent a shiver through me. He quickly bonded with Thomas, chatting about cars and adventure tales as if they'd known each other forever. I'd listen to horror radio shows on the porch, and Liam would wave at me, that mysterious smile never fading. Liam said he worked in the film industry, specializing in unique projects he didn't elaborate on. I didn't press, but the flickering lights from his windows at night piqued my curiosity. Then I started seeing a girl. She drove a white convertible, pale blonde hair fluttering in the breeze, wearing a thin dress like a phantom. She appeared when Liam wasn't home, silently unlocking the door with a key, her hollow eyes scanning the street. I assumed she was his girlfriend, but something felt off. The air around her was cold, even in summer. One time, I saw them together. Liam drove up, her beside him, but there was no laughter, just a heavy silence. I told myself it was a relationship thing, but the unease wouldn't leave. Then one afternoon, while I swept leaves in the yard, shouts erupted from Liam's place. I peeked through the fence and saw her screaming at him, her voice shrill like wind whistling through a crack. Liam stood still, face pale, as if entranced. She stormed to her car and sped off, leaving a misty trail of exhaust. I told Thomas, but he said not to mind it, though he'd glimpsed her shadow glide past our window the night before. She kept returning, always when Liam was gone. I'd see her through the curtains, moving soundlessly, as if her feet never touched the ground. One night, our sleep was shattered by police sirens. I rushed to the door, heart pounding. Liam's house blazed with red and blue lights, the air thick with a sulfur stench. The girl was dragged out, eyes white and lifeless, offering no resistance, like a walking corpse. Liam was carried out on a stretcher, blood streaming from his chest, his panicked eyes staring into nothingness. I trembled, feeling the darkness from that house creeping toward us. A week later, Liam returned, gaunt, eyes sunken deep. We visited, and he spoke in gasping breaths. The girl, Eve, wasn't human. She'd stolen his house key, tracked him through his phone, and placed ancient mirrors in his room, not cameras, to watch him from the other side. Liam caught her muttering strange incantations each time she came. When he tried to break things off, she lost it, demanding his soul in exchange for eternal wealth. That night, she brought a dagger etched with eerie symbols, stabbing him amid cackling laughter. Liam fought free, but he swore the dagger lifted into her hand on its own, guided by something unseen. Liam shook as he said he'd awakened something he shouldn't have when he bought that house, a place once owned by a warlock. He moved out soon after, leaving the house swallowed in shadow. As his car disappeared, I heard whispers echoing from across the street. I pray Liam finds peace, but deep down, I know Eve's ghostly presence hasn't left. I'm Jake, a single guy pushing 30, and I moved to this quiet, tree-lined suburb to escape the wreckage of a toxic breakup. I'd stumbled into some money years back and made dumb choices with it, lesson learned. The neighborhood was perfect, low crime, spaced out homes, mostly families. My house was modest, but the hulking mansion next door loomed unusually close, its dark windows staring down like empty eyes. When I met its lone occupant, Tyler, I figured I'd found a kindred spirit. He was young, maybe mid-20s, with a laid-back grin and a mullet that screamed rebellion. He said he worked in finance, though he dodged details with a laugh. I invited him for a beer, but he glanced nervously over his shoulder, mumbling about work, and shut the door. Odd, but I shrugged it off. Tyler was a ghost after that. No visitors, no deliveries, no sign of life beyond his beat-up sedan always parked out front. I worked from home, my office perched on the third floor with a clear view of his place. I'd catch myself staring, wondering how he survived. Did he ever eat? 6 months passed with nothing but silence. Then came that Wednesday night. I jolted awake at 2 a.m., heart racing, as pounding music shook my open window. Rubbing sleep from my eyes, I peered out and saw 6 cars crammed into Tyler's driveway, headlights cutting through the dark. A party? In the middle of the week? The volume was insane, laughter, shouts, clinking glasses blaring from his house. I'm no killjoy, but this was nuts. I threw on a jacket, adrenaline pumping, and marched over. The air buzzed with noise, but no one answered my knocks. My fist hovered, then I tested the knob. It swung open. I froze, breath-catching. Inside, a pile of mismatched shoes, 10 pairs at least, sprawled across the foyer. But the house was dead silent, save for the party sounds blasting from speakers. No people, no cups, nothing. My skin prickled. I crept forward, pulse hammering, and realized the noise wasn't live. It was a recording, looping endlessly. What the hell was this? The cars outside, the shoes, it didn't add up. A faint hum drew me to a cracked door near the kitchen. My gut screamed to leave, but curiosity clawed at me. I nudged it open, revealing stairs plunging into a pitch-black basement. A sickly yellow glow flickered below, pulling me down step by creaking step. The air grew thick, reeking of bleach and something metallic. At the bottom, I crouched, peering through shadows. 3 figures stood across the room, older men, grizzled, in heavy work gear, goggles, gloves, boots. They stared at something out of sight, their faces taut. A grinding roar erupted, like a saw chewing through bone, rhythmic and relentless. My chest tightened. I edged closer, the chemical stench burning my nose, and glimpsed the glint, metal, blood? I couldn't tell. Panic surged. One of them shifted, and the light dimmed as if a door slammed shut. I didn't wait to find out. I bolted, legs pumping, up the stairs, through the house, and out the front door. I didn't run home. I vaulted my fence, scrambling into my backyard, locking the side door behind me. Gasping, I killed the lights and crept to my office window. Minutes later, Tyler's door flew open. 8 men spilled out, none of them Tyler, scanning the street, their voices sharp with anger. One shoved another, fists clenched, but they retreated inside. The music died abruptly, leaving an eerie void. By morning, the cars were gone, Tyler's included. His house sat lifeless, grass creeping up, packages piling against the door. I asked neighbors about the noise, nothing. Not a single one heard it. My mind reeled. Had I imagined it? But those shoes, that sound. Weeks turned to months, and Tyler never returned. The place is a tomb now, whispering secrets I can't unravel. Was it a cover-up? Something illegal? The locked door, the argument, I'm haunted by it. If Tyler ever comes back, I'll demand answers, though part of me dreads what I might find. If you're still here after this story, then maybe you're meant to stay a little longer. Like, subscribe, and share, and we'll meet again in many more eerie and thrilling tales.